I've got a 20-mile trail race coming up this weekend, and I'm gonna let you pick the shoe that I race in. All right, so these are the options. We've got the safe bet, the new Brooks Catamount 4, the upcoming release, the Speedster, the North Face Vectiv Sky 2, and finally we have the wild card to be released early March, the Norda 005. So yes, you heard that correctly. You are gonna be picking the shoes that I wear for this race. I'm gonna try to get this video up as quick as possible. Post on YouTube, Instagram, Strava even. And I'm just gonna collect votes in the comment sections and do a kind of informal tally. And whichever shoe gets the most votes is the shoe that I will wear in the race. I did mention in one of my previous videos that I had a 50K coming up. This is the same race. I'm dropping down to the 20-miler. Things have just been so hectic for me recently. I started coaching girls basketball. I've got my daughter's 2nd grade team. I also have a 6th grade AAU team. I've got practices, I've got games, just getting everything organized has just been a lot going on. I haven't been able to really focus on training as much as I would like to. Also, I was in Tampa this past weekend for a wedding, so cross-country travel, time zone change, really not ideal. Just trying to get in the rhythm this week, and then the race is already on Saturday, so I'm just not raring to go, both training-wise and mentally, to really race a 50K this weekend. My daughter's game is also early in the afternoon, so time-wise, I could probably do the 50K and get back with enough time, but I just don't want to be scrambly for a lot of them, including my daughter. It's going to be their first organized game, so I don't want to be the one nervous and scrambling around as their coach. So as far as the race itself, there's a 20-mile loop and a 10-mile loop. So for 20 miles, I'll just do the first loop. There's a pretty steep climb early in the race up to this antenna tower. Last time, there was a lot of snow. I was hurdling snow drifts on the way up and down from that section. It definitely won't be that bad this time. It's been very cold recently. No snow in the valley for this whole winter pretty much. But really, even at higher elevations, like up by the ski hill, no snow for the past at least couple weeks or so. So I'm just giving you this for a little bit of context. I expect the ground to be hard packed, frozen, solid, cold. It'll probably be 15 or 20 degrees when the race starts. If there's snow, it's gonna be dry and likely packed down. No mud either. So one big steep hairy climb, descent, and it's mostly on a mix of single track and 2-track, maybe some dry snow, a little slick, potentially icy spots, but nothing muddy or crazy slippery. So there you go as far as conditions and terrain. So I'm calling the Catamount 4 my safe bet because the last time the race ran, I wore the Catamount 2s and they were just awesome. Really light, stable, cushioned enough for kind of the 50K distance. The flexibility of the shoe on the climb was great. Enough cushion for the descent parts. Just overall felt like a very quick and fast shoe. This shoe, I would say, is similar, except there's even more cushion underfoot. It's a touch heavier. It does have the redesigned plate. It's a little bit quicker. And like I said, the ground's gonna be super hard packed. It's gonna be majority runnable. And I know there's some sections that are downhill minor grades that you just have to let the legs go and really kind of a super shoe style cushioned fast shoe is really gonna make you fast on that light grade runnable downhill section. So if you notice also, I've got the same shoe on both feet. This is not an A, B, or C test scenario run here. I just want to give you a flavor of each of these shoes as I run in them, so you can pick for me. So the Brooks here is the heaviest of the three shoes. I've got it at 9.9 ounces, but it is also the highest stacked at 34.28. That's Brooks Flash V2, which is a nitrogen infused EVA. So you've got a higher stacked shoe here with the Catamount 4, which is advantageous over longer distances, but this race being 20 miles, not that I'm scoffing at that, but for some of the ultra races that I do, that's on the shorter end of the spectrum. So the advantages of that cushion, it's not as apparent over something quote unquote shorter like this one, but I don't feel I'm giving much away. It's not like it's drastically heavier than any of the other shoes. Those other two shoes are both under 9 ounces, the Norda being the lightest, which is incredible being that it has a higher stack than the Sky 2 even. So I would say with these three shoes, as the distance goes on, I personally would probably lean more Catamount, just because of the cushion factor, comfort over the long haul. The Norda too, I mean, that's pretty nice, but I still have to test that a bit more. There's no plate in the Norda shoe, so a little bit less protective, but that lightweight is really good. So as you can see, I've got no problem handling this shoe. There's not gonna be much more than that in the way of technicality in this race. When I say the shoe is high stacked, I'm talking about relative to the other two shoe options that I have. It's not kind of a super max stack for say 100 miler or something where stability is an issue. I feel really great, comfortable, and agile in the Catamount 4. All right, time for quick shoe change here. Let's grab these guys. All right, just a quick detail before I go ahead and change shoes. All three of these shoes have a single layer mesh. I believe these are both TPE. The Norda has the Dyneema upper, but if you'll notice, the Brooks and the Norda 005 have a closed mesh. They're similar in look, probably. I mean, they're definitely different in material. The Sky 2 has more of an open mesh design. I'm not sure if you could quite see that. You could see my finger through there. It's not a closed mesh, so it's gonna be probably 15 or 20 degrees at the start. So if you put me out there in these, my feet are gonna be cold. Quick feel out here. Foam energy feels similar, definitely more underfoot with the Brooks. I gotta trim both of these laces, actually, too long. So next up, I've got the North Face Sky 2. These are stacked at 31.25, 6 mil drop. I actually misspoke earlier. The Norda is a lower stack than these. I'm gonna have to see how they feel when I change into the 005s next, because the 005s surely have a more cushioned feel. It could be the difference in the foam. Norda's TPEE just feeling cushier. This shoe also does have a carbon fiber plate full length, so you got some firmness from that. I still feel closer to the ground in this shoe. I'm gonna have to see how the Norda feels after this. So this shoe is gonna be less forgiving on the feet, less forgiving on the long descents, a little firmer. It's probably better suited more to kind of single track, twisty kind of stuff, more agile style terrain. This is gonna be more ground feel, but you're lighter. I mean, 8.7 ounces versus 9.9 in the Catamount 4. And like I said, 20 miles for me, it's not like my feet are gonna be beat up at that type of distance in this type of shoe. I didn't look at the splits yet at all from the last time I ran it. I think that first loop is about 2.5 hours, I wanna say. Not too sure if I'll be faster than it was last time. Certainly, I won't be doing the next 10-mile loop, so I could push a little more in the second half this time. So one distinctive difference between this shoe and the other two is that these do have 5mm lugs. So when I got them, I was thinking, oh, okay, I'm definitely gonna run them at this race, but with the weather and the conditions being as they are, frozen solid ground, no mud, that's really not a factor at all on this particular race day. The Brooks and the Norda both have 3.5mm lugs, which should not be a factor on Saturday. Having put all three shoes on my feet over the past day or two, I think the Sky 2, ooh, ice on that rock. I think the Sky 2 fits the most securely for me. Really love this midfoot hold on this shoe. Feels so dialed. And the forefoot, the width across the forefoot is great, so I feel really secure in this one. A little bit of thin ice back there. Got a little wet, but it's okay. Luckily the sun's out. It's warmed up to about 30 right now, so not too bad. Easy climbing here. Nice flex, even with that carbon plate. So I did call this shoe the Speedster in relation to the other two shoes I got with me today. It does feel that way. Definitely feels the lowest to the ground, most agile. It's got pop, carbon plate, the Dream Foam, nitrogen, TPU. Feels fast, feels quick. All right, last shoe change. The wild card. Okay, let's see how this stack height feels. I've got this at 28.5, 21.5 for 7mm drop. It feels the same, if not a touch higher than the Sky 2. I'm gonna have to go back and maybe measure this North Face shoe. Doesn't seem like it's whatever I've got it at, 31. So apologies if you were waiting for this section of the video, but I'm not at liberty to give too much details about the 005 until we get closer to the release date. So sorry about that. But I can't talk about specs and information that's public, so it's a 21mm stack height. That's 7mm drop in comparison. Those other two shoes I had were 6. And yeah, I feel that a little under the heel, a little higher. That's good. The ride is nice. The weight of my sample in the US 10 is 8.5 ounces. So if you do the math on that, that's pretty light. The foam is TPEE, which is really kind of like a next generation midsole foam. Again, It's really nice. The Sky 2 had nitrogen TPU and the Catamount 4 had nitrogen EVA. I will say regarding sizing, and I think this is okay to say, I have all three shoes in a 10, and lengthwise, this one feels the shortest. It's not as long as other size 10s. But as far as this voting is concerned, it will not be an issue for me taking this shoe out for 20 miles. So I'm gonna take this one up through there, up through that hill that way, where I did my Prodigio and S-Lab Genesis A/B testing. I do want to get a feel for this shoe going up and down, because there's a solid hill in this race. Yeah, climbing feels nice. So I have to say, with the 005 going on this downhill here, it's nice. For real, I will run the race in one of these three shoes and you will pick it. You have your options. Here they are again. Brooks Catamount 4, North Face Vectiv Sky 2, and of course, the Norda 005. Oh, and one more detail. In the interest of engagement, I will allow multiple votes in this poll, one per platform. That's Instagram, YouTube, and Strava. So you can vote one time on each platform as long as you like and subscribe. I mean, honestly, I don't even really know why I'm doing this. I know what everybody wants to see me run in. I'm gonna get like 99% of the vote for the